welcome back to our online community content. If you would, after this episode, go ahead and take a moment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can also visit our website, fccbrazil.org, where you can find all of our podcasts and any other online community content that we post. But most of all, I hope that you find this next presentation inspiring to lead you to a loving Father, a caring community, and a life-changing faith. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Behind the Sermon. I am your host, Jon Rhoades, as always, joined by the preacher, Gregg. How you doing today, Chris?
Doing great, John. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can't complain. And even if I did, nobody would listen. So I heard somebody say that at the grocery store the other day. He said, I can't complain. Well, I could, but no one would listen. He's exactly right. Nobody wants to listen to your complaining. So... But just all jokes, of course. Hey, if you have a question about yesterday's sermon, about future sermons or anything like that, remember you can always submit those on our Facebook page or on any other form of social media that we have, and we would love to insert those into this so that way we can answer those for you. Since we're on Facebook Live now, you can view it and you can just type that question in there. And maybe you're here and you think to yourself, oh, I gotta remember to ask that question. If you're here and you have a question, pop out your phone real fast, get in the comment section, type that question, and we'll be able to receive it from there, so you won't even have to remember to do that. So if you're on Facebook Live or the Bible during the sermon, you should be okay. But maybe don't be visiting other websites and everything else. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, we had a good day yesterday, Chris. You have a good day yesterday?
Yep, good day.
I think you did a very good job. It's a very important message. You talked about armpit hair, so that was fun. But
there you go.
I was gonna cut that part of the sermon out since we posted on YouTube. I was gonna cut that part of the sermon out and play it here. Yeah. But I ended up not having time to do that, unfortunately.
Thank you.
But if you were here yesterday, you heard Chris talk about armpit hair and how that's supposed to be an attractive thing for a mate. So if you ever wondered if armpit hair is attractive or not,
spread the aroma.
Yeah. Go back and listen to Chris.
Yep.
Anyway, yesterday, Chris, you talked about how we are invaluable. And you even went as far to say, and I don't say this like it's untrue, it's completely true, but you even went as far to say that not only is the church invaluable, but every single person who is in the church is invaluable. And we're not talking about small C, First Christian Church. We're talking about big C, the church,
Universal
the worldwide church, all together.
Right.
And so I was going to ask, what might you say to someone? Say you had somebody come into your office, say you had somebody who talked to you on Sunday morning who said, they've never felt valuable because of the way they've been treated in the church. And we know this is a common thing. It's very unfortunate. We want to be upfront and honest here and say the church is not perfect.
Right.
We do sometimes make people feel like they are not valuable. But what would you say to somebody who maybe they have that thought process that they are not valuable because of maybe the way they were treated in the church in the past?
First, I would just say I'm sorry that happened to you, and we hope it doesn't happen again.
Right.
But the church is full of human beings, and sometimes we pick up a slight that's really not there. Right. It's either you've not been engaged in the church, or you haven't developed some relationships, or maybe somebody did miss you or didn't see you. Somebody could have been hurt yesterday that I didn't say hi to them.
Right.
Try to get around and say hi to everyone. And so sometimes it's within us, that kind of rejection, but sometimes it occurs.
Yeah.
I know some churches that have been abusive at different times, but overall, we want to be a welcoming, caring family that everybody matters.
Right.
Whether we're big C or little c, we want everyone to connect and to have relationships, and it's important. You're important again.
Right. Well,
every member counts.
And that's in our mission statement as well. Right. Lead people to a loving Father, caring community, life-changing faith.
Right.
We want this to be a caring community for everybody.
Right.
And, we want people to truly feel like when you're not here, you are missed. Right. I think about kids every single week who aren't in Kids Zone or wherever else, and I think to myself, boy, I hope they were over there with their parents or something, because I missed seeing them this week. And now I don't always have the time to reach out to everyone, unfortunately.
And chase them down.
Right.
But we have some safety nets, and we try to follow up with everyone, but we aren't always successful.
Right. And, we are very blessed to be as large of a church as we are. We are by no means a mega church or anything like that, but we are very blessed to have as many people go here as we do. But sometimes when that happens, things do get missed, things fall through the cracks, and we are sad about that. But we want everybody to know that you are important, you are valuable. Even if you don't feel it at church, God feels that way about you. And you talked about how sometimes maybe something like that happens in the church, or maybe we're just down in life. We kind of say to ourselves, well, I'm not that important, or something along those lines. I think everybody has said that to themselves at some point in their lives. But let's get real and let's admit the faults of us as Christians for a minute. Not just First Christian Church, but us as Christians all together. What are some ways that we treat people that might make them feel like they are not valuable to God? Maybe some people are doing these things and they don't even realize it, but if you could think of a few ways that maybe we're doing that.
Just not being friendly. And my rule of thumb is that if you're within arm's reach or 10 feet, I want to say hi to you and I want to talk to you. But I don't always see everyone. I don't have eyes in the back of my head. Try to talk to everybody, but when I do talk to someone, I try to go eye to eye and listen to them specifically. I might wave as people go by, but I'm still intent on talking to that one person.
Yeah. I had a buddy in Bible college when I was there, and he was not employed by the church that he went to. He was not even a volunteer at the church that he went to, but he went there for 2 or 3 years, and his senior year of college, he decided that what he was going to do is he was going to get there 30 minutes before the service starts, and he would not leave until 30 minutes after the service starts. And he made it his personal mission to shake hands and speak to any person that he did not recognize. And, he never was a volunteer greeter. He never, went to somebody and said, hey, can I serve in this way? But he knew to himself, hey, there are people serving, but if I can be one of those people that maybe catches somebody who doesn't get a greeter or something like that, that's going to mean a whole lot more. So doing that kind of stuff for sure. Just being a welcoming person to people.
Being open to new relationships. Including others.
And that is hard for some people. Because I mean, this guy, he was an extrovert. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He loved talking to people, meeting new people. But when you're an introvert, sometimes that's not...
a little bit harder.
But just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you can't have meaningful relationships in your life, and you can't look for avenues of new relationships as well. Now, we did get a question this week. So the question that we have is regarding the quote you made, where you said your past doesn't disqualify you, it prepares you. I won't name the person who asked the question, but basically he said that this was a very interesting quote to him, and that he found the statement to be kind of like referring to the skeletons in the closet. And he said that growing up, he was always taught the opposite thing. Your past is behind you. Skeletons in your closet, you don't need to worry about it, get rid of it, it's not there, and you don't even want to think about it anymore because you have your new life ahead. And I was just wondering, I answered it a little bit to him, but I just wanted to bring it up to you and see, what are kind of your thoughts about just leaving the past completely behind you and just saying it's not even there, rather than saying your past prepares you.
We all have a past, and rather than, our past is forgiven and it doesn't define us, and we're transformed by Christ and moving in a direction hopefully toward Jesus as we follow and focus on Jesus, we are being changed. The question there is, what do we learn from our past? And we can use our past. I know some drug addicts that are reformed. They went in through NA or Alcoholics Anonymous, and now they have a testimony. Now, that doesn't define them, but for other people that are struggling, that are desperate for God, people that have gone through divorce, that was a bad time in my life. Here's how we try to help our kids through it. This is how I survived through it, and I put my faith and trust in Jesus, and so that's past. But for someone else going through that, they can immediately relate. And so our past is a ministry. So God allowed us to go through that, whether it wasn't God's fault, but it was our choices or somebody else's sin or whatever that we went through. But we can use that as a testimony and build and minister through. It's maybe a skeleton, but when you're willing to share your skeleton as a way to bring people to Christ, to help minister, to say, here's what I did, this is how I survived.
Right.
Whether it's, a marriage that's struggling or losing a job or whatever.
Right.
Going through bankruptcy.
Right.
However and whatever, as a ministry.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so true too, because the sin in our past, it makes the salvation that God offers that much sweeter.
Right.
Right. Because if you did have a past of drugs or right. Whatever else was in your life, I don't want to name everything, but right. People know their own past. When right. You've had that past, it makes the future and it makes the salvation that you've gathered that much sweeter.
Yeah, I preached the week before, those who are forgiven much love much. Right. And think about Dave Ramsey. He went through bankruptcy a couple times. Now he's doing a ministry, a finance ministry, and right. How to handle your finances because of his experience.
Right.
And so that can be a possibility. Not everybody right. is going to do it like that, but it's a possibility.
Yeah. And Dave Ramsey has a lot of good content, mm-hmm. and maybe we don't say, "Oh, I'm going to go out and have a troubled past, so that way I can have a testimony." Right. Maybe we don't say that, but there are naturally things that happen in your life that it's unfortunate and it's sad, mm-hmm. but it can be used for the glory of God.
Absolutely.
Later on in life.
Absolutely.
Later on. So.
Your story becomes your testimony, and to the glory of God, as God transforms you. You may still struggle. That's okay.
Right.
God can use you.
Yeah.
And you are important and invaluable part of the body of Christ.
Right. And that's the thing is, nobody who goes to church here is perfect. Even if mm-hmm. somebody wants to walk through the doors and say, I'm the best person in the world, I can't mm-hmm. imagine somebody would, but if they did, nobody's perfect. Nobody's got it all figured out. Nobody's got it all together. We're just a group of believers trying to help each other.
Right.
As we go. A caring community.
Right. And as families go, there's some dysfunction in every family.
Yeah.
May not be you, but if you don't know of anybody else, it may be you.
Yeah.
That's the dysfunction in the family.
I just had a conversation with a couple the other day when they were talking to me about their dysfunctional family, and for years they latched on to this dysfunctional family because it was the only family they had.
Right.
Well, they said that they are finally deciding next Christmas that the way they put it was cut the loose weight. But they're going to cut off the people in their life who have been toxic and poisonous, at least right. for a little bit of time, while they gather themselves and while they heal. And they told me that, that's able to happen a whole lot more because they have a church family
right.
they can rely on.
Absolutely.
And that's really what we want, is we want a church family for people to rely on, for people to be with, and we want to model that mm-hmm. relationship that you have with God mm-hmm. to rely on Him and be with Him. So, very good. Chris, you have any other more thoughts or anything before we finish off?
No, just remember that you're an important part of the body of Christ, and if you're not here, if you're not present, if you're not involved, then something's missing and something's not getting done.
Right.
And the other parts of the body are working harder.
Right. Yep. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, at some point we're going to have a survey on social media. We want to better serve you on all of our platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, mm-hmm. everything like that. We want to better serve you. So if there's something that you would like to do to help us out, to better serve you on social media, be sure to be on the lookout for that survey. It'll either be posted later today or maybe it'll be posted a little bit earlier too, because I know this will be posted on Wednesday. But be looking out for that. If you see that, please fill it out. It helps us. It helps us to be able to serve you better. It helps us to be able to serve our entire online community better, not just with Facebook Live, but with everything else that we do in our online community. We love you. We appreciate you. And everything that we do here online is for you and for the glory of God. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.